Hey guys, welcome to Gigi's Fabric Shop, home of Juki Junkies, and today we're going to be going over how to clean the Miyabi J-350 sewing machine. Now, we've done a lot of research on this machine and we found that there's really no videos on how to clean this machine. So we're going to show you how to take apart the stitch plate. We're going to show you how to clean out the bobbin case area, and it's very simple. This machine is pretty much an industrial machine and you don't really have to bring it in for a service very often if you just follow these quick, easy steps. Alrighty, so the first thing you're gonna need is gonna be cleaning swabs. You're gonna really wanna make sure that you got these cleaning swabs. If you don't know what these are, we do sell these on our website. There's gonna be a link in the description, and you're gonna want the needle oiling pen. You could either use this or you can use your oil that comes with the machine. We really highly recommend this as it's a very sharp needle point tip, and it really allows you to get a drop of oil right there on that hook. This is gonna be just a little 3-ounce bottle. Actually 2 fluid ounces, and this is just to refill this over time, so we just figured we'd show you that. This will also be in the link in the description, and we also have a coupon code for all accessories and cleaning supplies on jukijunkies.com. It's going to be code YouTube. That'll also be in the link in the description. Make sure to use that to check out any parts or accessories for your Juki sewing machines on our website. Next thing you're going to want is a flathead screwdriver. We're going to be using this one just because I found this one, but you can also use a T-screw that comes with your machine as well. And then lastly, this is optional, but we do have a nice little vacuum. This is just like a little attachment that we jerry-rigged onto the tip of a vacuum. You can use this with any shop vac. You could probably find all these pieces at like Harbor Freight or Ace Hardware or even on Amazon, and you can kind of just jerry-rig it so it plugs into your bigger vacuum hose. That way you can suck out all the dust. One thing to note is you're not going to want to use anything that's like a canned air or compressed air, because that's just going to blow dust in areas that you don't want it to go in. So next step is we're going to want to go ahead and remove the foot on the machine and the needle off of the machine. Obviously, all you're going to do is just go ahead and loosen up that screw, and that'll come right out. So you can loosen it all the way if you want, or just I like to leave the screw in there so we have one less screw to look for later on. We can put that foot over here. And I guess you really don't have to remove the needle, but it is kind of nice to remove it just because it makes it a little bit easier for safety. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the needle as well. And there you go. So now that we have that all removed, we're gonna go ahead and take off the stitch plate. Now we have this acrylic cover on our table, which kind of actually makes it a little bit annoying to remove the stitch plate. But if yours isn't perfectly glued down, you can kind of just lift it up like this and access underneath the stitch plate a little bit easier. But the first step is going to be to unscrew these 2 flatheads. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And this one over here, you're going to want to make sure you unscrew these just like so. So once you have these unscrewed all the way, you're going to want to make sure that you put the screws in a safe area, as you don't really want to be missing one of these screws. What we like to use is a little magnetic plate that you can drop your screws in, and that way you can tilt it upside down, you can drop it, and you know that all your parts are going to be in one little area. You could probably find one of these on Amazon or Ace Hardware or Harbor Freight or something along those lines, but this is definitely kind of important to have if you're cleaning and servicing your own machines. So the next step up is I like to lift up this acrylic table pad just a little bit, get my screwdriver underneath this little plate, just like that, and just lift it up. And once you get it up, you can kind of just slide it out. You want to be pretty cautious and gentle when you're doing this. You don't want to scratch these sensors or whack up these sensors in any way where they're going to shift around and move. But this is the stitch plate here. You can go ahead and just lightly cleaning swab this down, get any dust or anything like that, and usually it's not very dirty. So as you can see, it's not very dirty today. Now the next step up is, if we can get that camera zoomed in here, we'll go ahead and start vacuuming out and cleaning out this area. Guys, so now that we are zoomed in, you're just going to want to take that cleaning swab and start swiping around all these sensors, making sure to get all the dust off, all these little areas. As you can see, we got a lot of dust here.
Oh, I can't wait to see you pull out the swab.
Ooh, look at that.
So
why we like the cleaning swab so much is, as you can see, is it kind of works as a vacuum. It really does grab this stuff and pull it out. And you can also kind of reuse it, because what you can do is once you get away from your table, you can kind of just sweep it all off and kind of just reuse it a couple times before you go to the next one. And they come in a pack of like 20 or 30, so you're usually pretty good there. But that's why we really like using the cleaning swabs. It really grabs the dust and pulls it out versus using a brush and kind of just brushing it around. But also you can use that vacuum, but we don't really want to use the vacuum right now because it's a little bit loud. And the cleaning swab does just fine, honestly. So we're gonna go ahead and clean out this area really well. There's not gonna be any oiling that needs to be done in this particular area, but we will be oiling the hook in the next clip here soon. So let's just go ahead and clean up this whole area, making sure not to push on anything too hard, but just lightly kind of move that cleaning swab around. If you would like to rotate your bobbin case, you can. Now is a good time to rotate it around and kind of just see if there's any more dust bunnies that pop up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep doing that, kind of cleaning around. You can kind of wipe down your little needle bar right here. So that way all that's clean. Alrighty, so now that I got this down to the point where it's clean enough where I'm comfortable putting back on that stitch plate, this is pretty much all you gotta do in this area.
Just take out all the dust.
Just take out all the little dust bunnies, clean it around. And this is something that you should be doing, I would say, at least every project, maybe every 1 to 2 projects. I know that some quilts can be really big and can cause a lot of lint. And if you keep these areas really, really clean, you shouldn't have to bring this machine in for a big detailed cleaning, but once every 3 to 5 years, kind of depending on how your machine is, how it sounds, what you think it needs. But these are pretty low maintenance. If you can do this all on your own, on a regular basis, you can really keep your machine real nice and clean. So now putting back that stitch plate cover, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're not scraping those sensors, so you kinda wanna lift it over them until you see that it's centered in these squares. Then you're gonna gently put it down until it kind of falls into place. So as you can see, it kind of fell into place there. You're gonna line up with those screw holes, just like that. And you're gonna go ahead and drop those 2 screws in. And now you're gonna, instead of tightening it down all the way, you're just gonna put them in and screw it down just where it's almost snug. And then you're gonna wanna put your needle on and your foot on, and make sure that the needle hole on the plate aligns with the needle before you tighten down the needle plate all the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all these screws in real quick. And right here, you're just gonna go down where it's snug.
Not super tight, right?
Yeah, you just wanna make sure where it's pretty much far enough down where all you have to do is a couple turns to tighten it up.
Gotcha.
But you just wanna make sure that it's still movable, because when you put this needle in and the foot back on, that's when you're going to make sure that your needle's aligned in the center of this hole before you tighten down this plate. Alrighty guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my needle back on. And we do have a video on how to insert your needle, how to wind the bobbin, how to thread the machine, if you wanna go ahead and check that out. But of course, you just wanna make sure your scarf is facing the sewist or the sewer or whoever it is, and tighten that back down, put the foot back on obviously. But you don't really need to put the foot back on quite yet, but right now we're just gonna make sure that needle is centered in that hole. So you're just gonna use your hand wheel to bring down that needle. And as you can see, it is pretty centered, but it was a little bit off. So I'm just moving the stitch plate just like this. You can kind of just wiggle it around and it's very centered now. So now we can go ahead and tighten this down. And the stitch plate is no longer gonna move. You just need to go hand tight right when it stops. You just go a little bit tighter. This little plastic LED cover fell off. We'll put that back on in a little bit. So yeah, go ahead and tighten it down. And if you ever have an issue where when you move this machine, your needle is not lining up at this hole and you're moving your stitch plate and it's still not lining up, I have a very useful tip for you, okay? It's very simple and it's very easy to do. These machines are made out of cast iron, and they will move, this area of the machine will move and shift that needle bar from left to right over time when you're moving this machine around. It's very simple to put it back in alignment. All you really have to do is just grab up here. Don't grab too low, but just right up here at the meat of the machine, and you can actually move the cast iron. You can push it just a little bit. You can see that needle's moving left and right, and you can just push it back and forth, left and right, whichever, and that'll kind of knock it back into alignment. These cast iron frames will actually move just a hair when you're moving the machine, or if you were to bump into it. So it's not that big of a deal. You can kind of just push it back into place. So there you go. That's a quick little tip, just in case you're not able to get this needle to line back up with that needle plate hole. So now that we're done with this, we're gonna go down to the hook area. We're gonna take the bobbin out, and we're gonna go ahead and clean that hook out really well and drop our little oil in there. So now that we have the bobbin case out, we're gonna go ahead and clean out this area. And this area you're gonna wanna be doing every single time you change out your bobbin. So number one, you can probably just take like a little piece of fabric and wipe down this area, because you can see it gets pretty oily and linty, or you can use the cleaning swab and see how nasty that gets. Back in there, kind of, I know it's hard. This is a really hard angle because the camera in my big old hand kind of just defeats it, but there you go. Okay, so you're gonna be cleaning out this area really, really well. And then the next step would be take your cleanest cleaning swab you got. You wanna take a brand new one here. And you're gonna wanna clean out that bobbin case holder area, kind of just making sure you get all the dust out, but also you're wiping off some oil. So you're gonna wanna make sure you oil this bobbin holder every single time. But yeah, you can do that there, and you can also do that to your bobbin case itself and kind of just wipe it down, clean it off. So now this is when the Tri-Flow needle pen is gonna really shine. You're gonna wanna drop the drop of oil right on the hook, right in this area right here. So as you can see, this little bar moving around, there's one step, and then there's the second step right here, and then there's the third step up here. You're gonna drop it on that little second lip right there. And you're just gonna wanna do one little drop. So just like that.
Perfect.
Well, that may have been like two, but it's not gonna be that big of a deal if you over oil it just a tad by one more drop. You just might get a little bit on your fabric, so you don't wanna drop too much, okay? Just one little drop, and that's something you're gonna wanna do every single time you're changing out your bobbin, because that is an area that really needs oil, okay? And that's really the only spot on this machine that needs oil. Everything else on this machine will be oiled by the internal parts, and it's pretty much a grease. So it doesn't really need to be oiled very often, but the hook area obviously needs to be oiled. Every bobbin case, every bobbin change.
Make sure you guys, once you oil your bobbin case holder right there where David was talking about right by the hook, make sure you give your bobbin case that little spin. So turn your hand wheel a little bit so it's lubricating the complete outside, because there's one piece that's spinning and then one piece that's not. So we want to make sure that that oil gets distributed like evenly all the way around, because that's metal on metal right there. So just give it a couple turns so the oil gets evenly distributed so it doesn't fall to the bottom, and then you're ready to rock and roll.
So there you go. You guys have seen it here. You know how to clean your machine. Your J350 should be nice and sparkly now. These are really the only two areas that you can clean that I can show you. Everything else, obviously, you can just kind of wipe it down and just clean off the surface of the cast iron and whatnot. But the stitch plate, we recommend doing this every project, or every 2 projects, at least every project though. At least every 2 projects, I mean. But every project would be a good idea. The bobbin case area, of course, you're gonna wanna do that every single time you change out the bobbin. And that is pretty much it. So there you go. Alrighty guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video on how to clean the Miyabi J350 sewing machine. Very simple. Remember the stitch plate area, once every project, maybe once every 2 projects. The bobbin case area, every single time you change out that bobbin. Don't forget to get the needle oiling pen, Tri-Flow oiling pen. It's gonna be in the link in the description of this video, as well as the cleaning swabs and the 2-ounce. And any accessories and feet that you want for this Juki machine, or any of your Juki machines, check out the link in the description, jukijunkies.com. Use code YouTube for 10% off all accessories and parts and cleaning supplies for your machines. And then that also ends at the end of August. We might, maybe we'll add another code for next month. I don't know. Got to talk to the big boss lady, Gigi. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment down below if you have any questions on this machine and cleaning. Don't forget to subscribe. We are uploading every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check out the link for all of our socials. We have a Facebook page, Instagram page, TikTok, we have it all. So
The app.
check it out. Also, we have an app with fabrics and notions and all that stuff. So check out that fabric app as well. If you haven't already, go ahead and watch this video right here on how to change out the needle, thread the machine, and wind the bobbin. And if you haven't, press that little icon in the bottom left corner to subscribe. Thank you for watching.